subscribe and press the bell icon. Hey guys, what's up? हम लोग वापस आ गए द स्ट्रेंथ मॉबकास्ट पे। आज एक और नए गेस्ट होस्ट है मैट। सो मैट, कैन यू इंट्रोड्यूस योरसेल्फ टू द ऑडियंस?
I'm Matthew. I'm 21 this year. I am a four-time Asian champion from 2016 all the way to 2019. And in my 7 years of powerlifting, I've broken broken about 4 world records. And yeah, I think those are my more notable achievements.
Nice, Matt. So can you walk through like what's your programming like? How do you program yourself for being the world champion?
I don't program for myself. That's something that I personally stand for because I feel like there's a lot of emotion that will be put into it. That's why I personally won't do it. But I believe a good programming has to have structure. And firstly, you need to know your goal. So what is your goal? Of course, periodization is also very important. So the goal of your whatever certain block that you're on, right? And a little bit more about why I don't program for myself is, for example, my elder brother, who's my coach, he I think he broke 2 world records in his career, but he told me that for example, if let's say this week I'm feeling good, I tell him, okay, let's continue pushing. But then he'll be like, nah, I think we've done enough. Maybe there was like 6 or 7 weeks of pushing, right? So, but I feel good. And then when he calls for a deload, I'm like, nah, I don't need it. But then I'm really thankful during the deload week that there's a deload because I feel like shit. So yeah. But I think programming is something that needs practice. And it's not very straightforward. I mean, the more thought you put into it, the better.
Okay. So what's your programming like? What's your brother's philosophy behind your programming looks like?
I guess the philosophy behind the programming and something that I've learned is your training is only as effective as your recovery, right? Because overtraining just leads to a downfall. And if you're not able to recover from session to session, then it kind of defeats the purpose of training, because you don't get stronger when you're in the gym. You get stronger when your muscles rebuild when you recover, right, out of the gym. So uh yeah, I mean, that is kind of the quote that I go by. Your training is only as effective as your recovery. So everything is, whatever phase, whatever goal we have in mind, it's all surrounding that.
Okay. So you talking like your belief is like if you don't recover, training is of no use,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you believe in RPE or percentage based programs?
It really depends. I don't think that it's very individualized. I had a debate recently with my cousin about RPE. I think it was like a few years ago, and I said that RPE is that there's a lot of variables in RPE, right? Say for example, if let's say you're gonna hit a set of 4 or 5. Okay, let's say you're gonna hit a set of 5 at RPE 7, and then you underestimate, because you need to have an estimation, right? You underestimate and then you hit it at RP 6, and then you get like you kind of didn't maximize that set. You always want to maximize. You don't want to waste any of your sets, in other words. And then maybe you put another 5 kilos on, and then it shoots to RP 8. So at the end of the day, and then there's another variable, which is sometimes athletes, they are not so aware, right? So I feel like leaving it all to RP um, is too big of a risk. So what I personally do is I put a percentage and an RPE. So for example, you're gonna hit fives at 75%, and then you hit an RPE of 7. Say for example, so that is the benchmark, right? If let's say the RPE is at 7, then sure, go heavier and hit an RPE of 8 or whatever is prescribed, right? Or sorry, if it's 7, then yeah, if it's if it goes up to, if let's say prescribed is 7, it goes up to 8, then yeah, feel free to drop it down. So yeah, I think that is kind of like the best balance that I found, because you cannot fully depend on percentages also, because there's a lot of variables. Like I didn't have a good sleep today. I walked a lot, the kind of stuff. So yeah, I think having both, and with the athlete knowing how to manage both, is very, very important.
So you're talking about including percentage and auto regulation in the same program, right?
Yes. Auto regulation is very,
Basically,
very,
RP is a type of auto regulation. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And if you're an advanced athlete, you've been lifting for like over 5 years, 6 years, your body is a lot more sensitive also. How to recover and all of that. So yeah, it's auto regulation, RP is really important.
Yeah, to be frank, Mark, I can't judge my RP till date. It's very difficult for me to judge RP.
uh well, yeah. For me, it also is quite hard. For example, right, if let's say I'm gonna hit 200 for fives, and then I feel good, right? Maybe the RP is about 7-ish, and then I feel good. I bump it up to, let's say like 205 or 207. And then I psych myself up a bit more, I get more focus and everything. Then, wow, it moved like RP7. So, what is the truth?
It, yeah, I don't know. It's like, is it even real?
Yeah,
It's very
yeah,
difficult to judge RP, bro. That's why I believe in mixing two of them, like both of them together, RP and percentage. As you said, it's very, what do you say, good technique. Like if you have a balanced kind of program and don't focus on one thing at all the time, it's very good actually to get the best of both worlds at the same time.
yeah. And one thing that programming is, it's very, very personalized, and everybody is different. Some may react. Some people, their bodies may react to this method, and some may react to another. Say for example, if you have an athlete that has a very busy schedule, right? He or she only has about okay, rest very little, then uh trains after work, maybe has like a 10-hour work shift. Then with that, it's very, very, auto regulation is very, very, very important. And so the programming is always personalized. And something that my brother taught me when I got into coaching is, the program is dead, but the human is alive. A program can say something, but it really depends on how you feel on that day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I get it, bro. It's very, very like personalized based. If you're programming for someone, we need to know the athlete for a long time to get the program right way,
correct.
right?
Yeah.
So from that point, can you tell us about like how do you program for your athletes in general? Like what questions do you ask? Like a basic questionnaire do you send to your athletes and all?
Firstly, I'll ask about their history. So, how long have they been lifting? Like lifting seriously, powerlifting. And then I'll ask about injuries, because those are very, very important, right? If let's say you were from rugby, then you have a truckload of injuries, because rugby is a crazy contact sport, right?
Yeah.
And then yeah, so a lot of history and background, and of course their goals. Some people, their goals is, okay, I just want to do powerlifting because I like it, right?
Mm.
Some people, they want to do powerlifting because they want to be the best at it. So of course their programming is very different, right? And then if let's say you tell me that you want to be the best at it, then I expect you to have enough time to recover. I expect you to sleep enough. If
Yeah.
let's say it's just for fun, then it's just, oh, I just enjoy the sport for what it is. And then how then the programming is, how can I help to add value to his or her life? Teach discipline, teach whatever through uh strength training, through powerlifting. And so yeah, it's gonna be very, very different. And then for days that person doesn't have time, sure.
Yeah, it's need to be sustainable for the people who like powerlifting just for lifting purposes, not for competing purposes.
Correct. Yeah. And something that is okay, so after that, right? After the whole questionnaire, get to know them better. Um I usually like to start with an intro phase. So analyze the technique, and during this intro phase, everything is easy. Nothing shoots above RP7. So everything is RP6, easy and breezy, right? Mainly for technical correction. Just get their body used to training 4 times a week if they haven't, or 3 times a week, depends on their schedule. And um, yeah, I think the whole goal of that phase mostly is to sharpen the technique, because um, unless you are an advanced athlete, which is rare. An advanced athlete would be stuck with a coach because he or she has been growing with the coach since day one, right? Um, so yeah, mostly technical correction, and then the thing with technique, it's very, very personalized also. Limb lengths and whatever stronger muscles you have. You want to exploit your strengths and then work on your weaknesses, that kind of stuff. So through that intro phase, I also spot for weaknesses. For example, if let's say you're squatting, right, and then your hips shoot back
Mm.
when you're ascending from the squat. And then that's the sticking point after the hip shooting back, right? Then maybe you need more hamstring work and glute work. But that is still highly dependent. It could be because of your technique. It could be because of habits and whatever not. So um, yeah, I would say that there is a perfect technique. There is a perfect technique in my mind that I want all my athletes to follow, but it needs to be customizable to them. So for example, if let's say this perfect technique doesn't work for you, then okay, we would work towards what's perfect for you. So working to perfection first, perfection in my eyes, and then perfection in whatever is suitable for you. Of course, it depends on how the time that it takes. It depends on how long, and if let's say the athlete knows their body, like, oh, I cannot, I'm very sure that I cannot do this, then it will expedite the process. Yeah.
Mm.
So um, typically, I would like to enter into a hypertrophy phase. Just to build the base and just get stronger generally. And then I'll ask if there are any upcoming competitions or whatever, because I, as much as possible, I don't like to like max out in the gym. Unless they are a beginnerish intermediate lifter, then it doesn't really take a toll on them, so it doesn't matter. And I prefer to put all the PRs on the platform. If I can drag a hypertrophy phase out, if I can drag a strength phase out, and just estimate their numbers based on, for example, an M rep or a top single. Yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
So, Deva, do you have any questions for Mark?
Yeah. So, what do you think about the beltless blocks and what we say, the benefits of doing beltless training in powerlifting?
Benefits of doing beltless. I personally don't recommend doing beltless, and the whole reason is because a lot of athletes, right? Um, Especially if you just started lifting, you don't know how to brace properly with a belt. And even till today, I am learning to maximize. I think I'm almost there, learning to use my belt to the full potential. Sometimes I even forget like my last few reps when I'm really fatigued, right? And the thing is, if let's say the reason for not wanting to wear a belt is because, oh, I want to work on my core, right?
Mhm.
Then go do some specific core work instead. If you want to work on stability, go and do accessory work for stability. You get what I mean? And I feel that bracing is very important and everyone should have more practice of it. Unless you are an advanced athlete, you've been lifting for a really, really long time and you are really confident that, yeah, every single rep, I'll brace really hard. I don't need to. But still, yeah, I feel like the mastery of bracing is very important. And that is actually what a belt helps in. Yeah, and of course, injury prevention, right? Because the more intra-abdominal pressure you have, uh, the more you'll be stable. The more stable you'll be, so you won't shift and then you mess up. You strain a muscle or whatever not during a lift. Yeah. Do you guys train beltless ever?
Yeah, I did once, but let's see. I just tried once. I got good results because I have never tried it before, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
my bracing was on point and squat felt good without a belt. Actually, I did that because I had a what we say small cramping issue in my stomach in my ab. That's why I just started with the beltless block. So
Mm.
I got good results. Let's see in future if I'll do it or not. So
Yeah.
uh,
And
how was your Asian? Yeah, yeah, Vedant, go.
in my experience, I believe that beltless pause sumo deadlifts have helped me a lot. So I try to keep them in my strength block as well when I'm closer to the meet.
In terms of technique,
Yeah,
right?
just to
Because
for
pause, right?
yeah. So first I have primary day for sumo deadlift if I'm closer to the meet, and secondary is a little technical day which involves pause as well, so that I'm still maintaining my position of the bottom of the floor.
Yeah, yeah. I think in that context, if you want to make sure you're more stable and everything is okay. And but of course you cannot go heavy, right? Because the risk of injury, especially a pause deadlift.
Yeah.
That's just to, like a low RP is just to refine the technique and feel good. Right? That's
Mhm.
just the purpose. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in that case, yeah, of course, that there's a time and place for everything. But straight off the bat, if you ask me, like, would you recommend beltless training? Not so much. I would prefer people learn how to brace properly.
Yeah, and I think it's very
And
individualized the use of belt. Also, if a person is beginner, he should learn firstly how to brace
Yes.
and breathe correctly, and then
Mm.
put on a belt, and then learn how to breathe into the belt.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Devang,
Etiquette
go.
yourself?
I'm sorry, you were saying something?
No, no, no.
No, Matt, you were saying something?
Yeah, I wanted to ask etiquette. Have you tried?
Aniket.
beltless training. No, bro. As a beginner, I used to do everything beltless because I
You didn't have
didn't
what?
know how to use the belt,
Yeah, yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
where to get a belt. Basically, I was like, just go train heavy. That's it. That was the powerlifting term in my brain as a
Yeah.
beginner. So I was like, do beltless. So I got till 235 kg deadlift as a beginner
That's
without any
that's
belt.
impressive as a beginner, and you were very young then, right?
At 19, I believe, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Without any programming, nothing. Just go lift heavy, eat, sleep. That's it. That was some basic thinking, bro.
Speaking
The
of belts,
program,
what is the most popular brand of belts there?
USI,
uh, USI, yeah. For Indian public, for cheap belt, USI is the good belt.
best option.
Yeah,
The
made in
the
India.
the Titan?
No,
Titan
I,
is from USA, so Titan is very expensive in India. The
we
belts are
have
very
to
expensive.
export them. We have to export them from USA, so it
right.
like cost very high for us.
So which one again?
Export,
What's the
import,
brand?
USI. It's an
Universal.
Indian-based brand,
I see,
India.
I see. It's an Indian-based
Yeah,
brand.
I forgot
so
the
it's not
full form.
approved by the IPF basically. So
Oh
you can
shit!
wear it in Indian competition.
So when you want to compete, you get a legit belt.
Yeah, we have to get Titan or SBD. So
Yeah,
people, that's why they don't compete outside.
yeah, yeah,
It's very expensive, first of all. For us, like it's very expensive to import the belt from USA and UK also.
yeah. That's true. That's true.
So Matt, how many athletes have you trained up till now, who are like competing at a international stage or national stage?
Oh wow. I don't know. I don't have a figure to it. Oh, this is tough. Uh, oh, I have no idea. I really have no idea. But I recently in the 2019 Asian Champs, I'm not sure. I know Aniket went there, the
Yeah.
Kazakhstan
Yeah,
in
I
Kazakhstan.
saw you, bro.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
like
yeah,
vlogging and stuff, yeah?
yeah. Yeah.
Recording and stuff, yeah, yeah. I remember.
Yeah. So in that competition, I personally brought a team of 4 or 5 to the Asian Champ. Shit, how many? Okay, this is very bad. Like everyone, all my athletes are gonna like blame me for not knowing. Okay, wait. Uh, okay, wait. Give me a sec. 4. Yeah, I brought a team of 4 to the Asian Champs. Of course, the coach from our team is bigger, because the other coaches and everything also have their own athletes. But it was a whole new experience for me because uh, it was the first time that I had to coach and compete in an international comp,
Yeah, that's very different.
and the pressure was immense. Like, cause pre-com, right? Cause we when we cut costs, so we room with them and all that, and basically they're quite fun also. So yeah, we enjoy and whatever. So, but previously all I had to do is just kick back and relax and make sure that I'm recovered, right? Now, dude, the stress is crazy. Like, you need to make sure that everyone's okay. Like, you check up on them. How's everyone's weight? When are they competing? And then still knowing that I have to maximize my own recovery, and making sure that everything is okay on my side. Competing as an athlete. Whoa, that was crazy.
There was your friend in my category, I believe, for the squat medals, yeah?
Who? Sorry.
105 category. Your friend, what is his
Yeah,
name? Juan
QQ. That's his initials.
QQ, yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
okay. Yeah. He got around 270 squat, na?
yeah, yeah.
We both were like 270 exact, but he won by the body weight.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. That was such a tight call. We were like, because I remember your first attempt was 180. I'm like, what is this guy doing?
Bro, I puked all over the stage. You know that? I
Oh,
had brat like cramps all over my body and hamstring, quads, obliques everywhere. So I
was
was
it
like, to be safe, yeah, it was my water cut actually. I didn't had any food for like around 12 hours.
shit? Was it your first water cut?
No, no, no. It was my
Second,
fourth water cut.
He
fourth.
still
Okay.
didn't learn anything.
Yeah, didn't.
No, but what was the issue? What was the issue?
I have no idea, bro. It might be acid reflux or something like that.
Oh,
Because I consume the food very fast because I'm hungry for 12 hours, bro. I need to have
yeah.
something in my body. I
This is
just
what happens when you
give
don't
this,
take a
give this to me,
systematic
give this
approach.
to me.
But what did you consume?
Just a bottle of electrolyte, two Rice Krispies, and one or two fruits. That's it.
And that made you puke.
Yeah, I have no idea, bro.
Damn,
It
that's
So
might
crazy.
like
as per
I was
Vedant,
getting nervous.
he says that he got electrolytes in a very short amount of period of time. That's why he got all that issues. As per Vedant.
Really? Because
Uh,
um, what I usually do, right? Is after I weigh in, I'll have a bottle of water with me. So I'll just start chugging first, right? While my coach is,
Same.
writing all that whatever details and signing whatever. And then once I get back to where my luggage is, right, for competition, I would down like, Pocari Sweat. Do you guys have that there, Pocari Sweat? It's like
no.
it's like
Soya sauce.
no. It's basically electrolytes.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, so it's in powder form. So I down like 2 servings
Okay,
of
yeah.
that, and like I'm fine like throughout. So it's very odd that because you down
Or
like exercise, then you
might be like I was nervous because it was my first international meet and something like that. I was nervous. I get
could
nervous. Yeah.
damn, but that's crazy. Then yeah. So I remember like you, because I think we knew we somehow knew like where you were at. So like you opening 180 is just like what is happening? Right? It's
I
like
threw everyone off it. Yeah.
nonsensical, right? And then you made a jump like it's either like 100, like 60 or 70 or 80 kilo jump or something crazy like that.
I started around 260, I believe. 260 or 250. I don't remember clearly.
I think it's 260.
260, I guess.
260, yeah.
260.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is then we were like, oh shit.
I was gonna fail this. I did the attempt. It was okay, RP 9-ish,
Yeah,
9.5.
yeah. No,
And
and
I
then
did
yeah,
70
so
kg.
so so when you did 260, right, we were like, oh, because our second attempt was 252,
Uh-huh.
right? 257, I think, 257. But yeah, we were under you. So we were like, whoa, shit, like, what are we gonna jump to, you know? And then, because his second attempt was already slow,
Uh-huh.
so we were considering like, okay, you know what? Let's just put 270 on the board, right? And then, you put 270 also.
Mhm.
And then both of us were like, like we know that 270 is a big gamble for him, but we don't know about you, right?
Actually,
So,
I had planned 280 kg for that day. Because of the
oh,
cramps, I was like, let's play it safe, 270.
wow. Yeah. So,
My peak for the squat was the best ever for this competition. So I was expecting 280 for squats only. Like this was going great. The peak was very good, but
mm,
I puked all over there. Oh
yeah,
shit.
it's such a waste, dude. But yeah, the competition was really fun. That's something I enjoy a lot, like it's just predicting and making the right, like making calls and strategizing here and there. It's very I love the thrill. It's a bit messed up because people's medals are on the line, but I like this.
I even don't care about the medals. I was just like for playing stuff.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
not thinking for the medal the whole time. I was like, could I get a PR on this?
Yeah, but you did great, man. You did great. Like,
Oh
yeah.
bro, my national total is more than that.
Huh? Seriously?
Yeah,
Oh
Yeah.
I
no.
had
He
a
benched
squat PR.
he benched around 180 kg. That was a national record for India. That's why
180
he's
or
the
185?
strongest. 180,
One.
180.
Okay, 180, 180.
So that's why he's the strongest. What do you say? Junior in
Junior
India
in
right
India.
now.
Not
Jaw
now.
lifter.
A senior now.
Yeah, he's
Oh
a senior.
damn. What's your uh points? Is it called points now? I don't know.
Yeah,
I have
IPF
Yeah,
no
points.
yeah.
idea.
IPF points.
It keeps switching up. Like sometimes it's called IPF points, sometimes it's called Wilks, sometimes it's called IPF Wilks. I have no idea.
What was your Wilks?
I need to check, bro.
I think, Aniket, I think you totaled 730 at
Seven
105. Am I right? Nationals?
nationals. It was around 97 something. I cut water very hard.
Damn, your body weight was at 97. How much weight do you cut usually?
5 kgs. That's it.
Oh,
It's
okay.
easy for me because I weigh heavier.
Matt, let me tell you, from now on, I'm going to coach Aniket for some time. So I can pretty sure guarantee you that this won't happen again.
Vedant will be coaching from me now. Like
Oh, that's
I
nice.
like
That's nice.
Vedant, you take
Yeah.
this, take the stress out of this. So previously that I used to coach myself only.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Okay, so
have.
I have one question for Matt actually. Should I ask it?
Yeah,
What's up?
yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So as we are speaking about the attempt selection for your friend, right? So I want to know what are your attempt selection strategies in competitions for your athletes or yourself?
Um, I would say leading up to the meet, uh, I would already know the first and second attempt. So obviously your openers is something that you would smoke any day, right?
Yeah.
And then the second attempt is something you would definitely get, maybe like at an RP 8 or 8. 8.5 is the max that would go, right? But the space in between those attempts really depends on certain athletes. I mean, yeah, it really depends on what kind of athlete you are. Say, for example, for me, personally, I don't like to make small jumps on my squat. Minimum from my first to second attempt, give me 12 kilos, right? Even when I was like right now, because I'm squatting about like 250-ish, 12 and a half kilos is like reasonable. But even when I was squatting like 190, you know, I would still want a 12 kilo or 10 kilo jump at least. So that's kind of like my style. I prefer it that way. But I also have, like, take for example one of my girls. She won the Asian Championships at Kazakhstan, and for her, I cannot put her first and second attempt too far apart because it's a nerve thing. It's a nervousness thing. So for her, it's better to have a higher first attempt. You know, go out and feel the weight, and then be confident at that, and then move the second attempt with confidence. So that's kind of like, the whole reason behind it is confidence building, right? And then you have some athletes. Yeah, so it really depends. Some athletes like bigger jumps, and some athletes don't. But usually I would have my first and second attempt planned out for everybody, for all my athletes. And it, unless the only reason that I have to divert off the plan for the second attempt is that their first attempt moved really, really, really badly. Then I have to divert, to move to change strategy for the second attempt, just to get it in there. But yeah, apart from that, I would have the first and second attempt nailed down. Another reason could be looking on the opponent. So obviously, the second attempt is not the end of the meet. It's not the end of, for example, a squat, right? But I would always either want to match my opponent or be above them a bit, because in case, like the worst case scenario, both fail their third attempts, right? At least, if you fall back on both of second attempts, my athlete would still be a bit higher. So yeah, and of course it has to be within like 2.5 to 5 kilo range. I won't go anything above or under it, because yeah, it's not feasible. So I guess that is kind of like the strategy. But yeah, it also, I mean, I can have a perfect plan laid out, but at the end of the day, how is the athlete feeling on that day? If let's say the athlete feels amazing, then why not? In my team, there's this girl. She's a 2-time Asian champ, one from 2018, one from 2019. So from her, I think her second attempt pull was 178, an Asian record, right? 178 was just to beat the opponent on the second attempt, because both haven't gone for the third yet, right? And then because we have the upper hand, because we go last, because it was the heaviest deadlift, so we put in the world record at 196. So 178 to 196. It was a big jump, because her opener was like 172 or like something like that. So 172 to 178 is just a mini jump, like what, a 5-ish? I don't know. My math sucks. So but then, from the second to third, it's a bigger jump. Typically, you won't expect that, right? But then we were very prepared to drop it to like 183 or something. If let's say the opponent made the attempt, we will have to throw in the cut immediately to just to beat them by a bit or match. I don't remember who's winning on body weight. Then, but her opponent didn't make it. So yeah, 196 stands. Unfortunately, she didn't get it because her callus burst, but that would be an open world record, and it'd be pretty cool. Yeah, but I mean, it's for another time.
Okay. So talking about the deadlifts, Aniket in our team believes that he doesn't need that much of warm up sets for his deadlift attempt in a competition. What are your views on this?
Oh,
Because
really? It really
I'll
depends, like
explain you.
person to person.
I can explain you why I think because you're just starting warming up for the squats and bench. You're already warmed up. Your all the muscle groups are working properly. So I believe you don't need that much of what do you say extra junk volume for your deadlifts, not to be fatiguing all the way.
Yeah. I feel like at the end of it all, like what makes you feel
Personal,
better,
yeah.
like that's the most important, like to me. If let's say like for me, because I'm not very good at deadlift, like I mean typically you have like 30, 40 kilos away from your squat, right? Or however much. Mine is like 20 or something. But yeah, I've increased the gap for this Asian champs from my squat to deadlift. But yeah, generally my deadlift is I'm not really good at deadlifts. Um
Bro, you have the Asia record, no? Deadlifts.
I do, but
Yeah.
but yeah, generally I'm not very
And you also are the strongest Asia man, na? You got the strongest junior title
yeah,
for
of
Asia.
points. Yeah, but yeah, I would say that I'm not very good at deadlifts. So um I would prefer more warm up sets, and sometimes even like pausing my second warm up at 120 or something like that. So just to make sure the technique is on point and everything, just to feel good. Like ultimately the whole goal is to feel good for your warm ups. If let's say you feel that yeah, my technique is consistent, I can make bigger jumps, I don't need to take so much warm ups, and that makes me feel better, I feel fresher going into the competition, then of course, yeah. But I feel generally bigger guys need more rest in between. Is that true?
I need a lot of rest, bro. I can't recover like you guys. It's very difficult for me to breathe in this body weight.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's very difficult, bro. But Kazakhstan was very good actually. The competition, na?
Yes, it was quite nice. Yeah.
Also, Matt, what changes do you make in your programming while like what is it programming for your female athlete? Because as we know that our programming changes as gender changes because women
Yes.
can handle more volume and higher intensities also, and they can recover faster. So what are the other aspects that you can like tell us which we can improve in our programming?
So something that I look out for is the phases. So we all know that you're female, you have your monthly cycle, right?
Yeah,
Um, before your monthly cycle, okay, let's play in 4 weeks, right? And let's say week 0. So before the 4 weeks, let's say you just had your menstruation. So the 2 weeks after that is where you are at your most powerful. So that is where we will push and maximize everything that we can, and then the next 2 weeks is where they will slowly feel like crap, right? So it really also depends from person to person. Sometimes each sometimes it doesn't really affect them. Sometimes wow, it affects them a lot. So it needs to be observed, and yeah. So generally the last 2 weeks, uh which is closing into their menstruation, it will be uh slightly tapered, and things will be a bit more chill. So that is more focused on recovery and just feeling good, because yeah, we don't want to take too much out of them, because not everyone is, I mean, okay, let's be frank, no, only a handful of people are full-time athletes,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And um they still have their lives to carry on, and to work, and I it's not possible to take that away and just like feel like shit and just stay in bed and recover. So yeah, that lifestyle considerations and all of that also.
So what about you, Matt? Are you a full-time athlete or are you like earning something from other business, or are you just doing online coaching and other stuff in like powerlifting only?
Right now, I just graduated from school like 3 months ago. No wait, in April. So yeah, a few months ago. And as of now, yes, I'm working on the business. The business being, Coach by Marc, the brand, the team.
Okay.
Online coaching, yes. And then personally, I also do personal training.
Okay.
But yeah, just mainly both of them. And ultimately the goal is for me, is to make online coaching a full-time job.
Okay. Also, what made you start powerlifting in your start early ages?
Okay. So my elder brother, right? He started powerlifting first.
Okay.
He started powerlifting because his friend introduced it to him. So, I think that was in 2013 or 2014 where he heard about powerlifting. So 2014 is when he competed for the first time. But before that, if I'm not wrong, it was just him going to the gym. He just wants to get stronger, get bigger. I don't know. And back then, 2013 ish, I was 14 years old, and I was a computer game addict. Like, I would rush home from school, right? Just so that I can play computer games all the way till, sometimes I would like skip dinner or like just munch a bit here and there just so that, like, just leave me alone. I want to play my computer games, right? But then here he comes, forcing me to go to the gym. And as the younger brother, I'm like, fine, I will go with you. But there was a lot of resistance. Like, I really don't want, just leave me alone, right? Um, but after a while, after him dragging me to the gym, a couple of times, I realized that, hey, I actually like it. And I guess one of the motivation was that, okay, so in for us in secondary school, right, which is I think like high school for you guys,
Yeah.
Like what standard?
when you are about like 15 years old.
Eight.
Yeah,
It's yeah, ninth standard, I guess. Aniket.
8 to 9 standard. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Right.
And so for us it's called secondary 3, right? And you had to do pull-ups then, and I don't want to be embarrassed, like I cannot do pull-ups, right? So I told my brother, I said that, yo, I wanna, I don't want to embarrass myself, and I want to do pull-ups, like I want to be able to do pull-ups, right? So that was like kind of the first motivation. And then things snowball, and then like he introduced me to a barbell squat, and then I'm like, oh my god, this is actually quite fun. um I remembered that I at that age I wasn't able to bench with a barbell. It was too heavy. So I started off with like 4 kilo dumbbells. And then after that, we slowly progressed, and then I touched the barbell. But um yeah, that was kind of how I got into it. And then I competed for the first time in 2014. And then I realized that that is what I want to do. You know,
And when did you started implementing programming in your routine?
I guess from the very beginning, because my elder brother coached me, right, and still is.
Uh,
So from day one. So I guess I would say I'm very blessed to start young, first of all, because I have cumulative years of experience and advantage, and I have proper programming from the very beginning. So I guess that is what got me here. And with I don't think that I'm a very talented athlete, because I mean, if you put anyone 7 years on proper programming, since they're very young, and then 14 is where puberty, and then I maximize that and whatever. So um yeah, I mean, if anyone had that circumstance, they would also be somewhat at the top of their game. uh and there's a really funny story. So my my brother nicknames me a flower in the gym, because I get very easily injured. Like, it's very like delicate, like if I
Like a
just
flower.
mess up I just mess up a rep, or you just implement like a new exercise, and I don't like it, or I cannot make it work, right? I'll just feel aches and pains, and sometimes I will get like lots of injuries. So uh yeah, so that's something he calls me. And yeah, I mean, I know of some people that won't get injured. Like they're very not injury prone. Like my
Yeah.
younger brother, I think he had like a minor lower back issue, but those like those kinds that go away in like 1 to 2 weeks kind of stuff. But I think that's about it for his years in lifting also. I think he's been lifting for like 4 or 5 years or so. So yeah, it really depends on the person.
Okay. And how did you deal with your injuries? Like if they ever happened with you?
It really depends on what, but I'm very happy that I got a good support system. So obviously the first person that I'll complain to is my coach, right? I'll complain to my elder brother.
Yeah.
Oh, this hurts. I cannot do this and whatever. This is so demoralizing, whatever, right? And then of course he'll give me solutions and have you tried this? Have you tried that? Um, Most of the time, I would say like 60% of the time, things will go away. With a couple of implementation and fixes and whatnot. And that 40% of the time is when it's way more complicated.
Yeah.
So I'm very fortunate that I have a rehab guy that I go to. So he helps me with all my injuries and um, those kind of stuff, and making sure that my body is healthy and ready to go. Um, I think one of the major injuries that I had was my knee. So with knee pains, right, the most common solution or the easiest solution is to release the quad, because quad tightness and those kind of stuff, or tibialis, right? So you just release those two areas, and then you see if it helps. But
Let me
mine
tell you,
was,
yeah.
yeah. So that's like the first solution that anyone would do, because it's the easiest. It's you can do it on your own and whatever. But this was way more complicated than that, and it went down to my foot arch. Yeah, so that's kind of how I deal with it. But those take time, and it needs to be found. It doesn't present itself. But those bigger injuries, yeah, I go to him. I go to my rehab guy for it, and sometimes I'll have to take 3-4 weeks off. Like lower body work, or doing what I can, just to work around the injury and not um, directly make it worse. But for my, I had one more major one, which was my shoulder injury. I took like 4 weeks off bench, and then when you take time off bench, when you come back, oh my god, like what's happening? But yeah, I'll still be training. It's just that bench is either very light, and I'll be focusing on a lot of strengthening work and those kind of stuff. So I guess working around it, and of course having a direction to go to, and yeah, it's just walking in the right direction properly.
So, Matt, do you think that some knee injuries could or knee pain could also be because of, if the cord is not very active or felt throughout the motion?
It really depends on person to person, but I don't think it's that direct. Like, I mean, the first thing, if let's say, my client comes to me, I have knee pain. First is, are you activating your hamstrings, right? Try activating your hamstrings. And then second is, are you loading your knees too much? Because a good squat, you need to load your hamstrings and glutes as much as you load your knees. So I would like to visualize it as the hip hinge equaling the angle of your knees being bent, right? So finding a good balance of it. So most typically is that, unless you messed it up, big time, and which is quite rare. But yeah, I wouldn't say that the knee, knee pain is directly related to the core. If you're saying like lower back, then like, yeah, that's more direct. But yeah, I wouldn't. That wouldn't be my first instinct or my first train of thought.
Actually, I had an experience with this knee pain. In 2018 for the nationals, I was like traveling to the train, and I suddenly feel my knee was painful.
Oh
Like I
shit.
was like, what's happening over there? I don't know. I need to catch the train. We're going to the competition. Like all fucked up. I was like tensed up. So I was like, let's go and figure this out. So I listened to every podcast there was on knee pain while traveling. Everything was there. So I just listened and just took time off. Did some foam rolling. I had this electric muscle stimulator thing with me, so I
Oh, that's
carried it with me.
cool.
It's very cheap, bro, for us. It's like 500 rupees. So that's around 10 US dollars, 10 or 9
Okay.
US dollars. So I was like, just carry it me. So I did that, and after that, my knee was completely fine. I think it was an issue of me peaking very hard, or something like I did a deload with what do you say? No, this the transition week was no training at all.
Oh,
So
I
that
wouldn't.
might
I personally wouldn't say it so. Probably, but the pain lasted for a while, or like, and is it like a sudden pain, or it's like gradually creeps in?
it was like pain when I used to bend my knee.
Like
That was it.
suddenly or overnight?
Suddenly, like before that, I was playing table tennis out of the
Maybe you
bloom.
messed it
Like
up then.
might be, yeah, I think so because I was playing like all the way. Like
Yeah. You put your
might be, bro.
your body in awkward angles
Yeah,
and
might
yeah.
be. So I got like 5 weeks before the competition. I was lucky because I have to weigh at 105. So I have a lot of time between competition.
Oh, okay. What's your
So I
usual body weight?
105. I started from 93 kg,
Yeah.
built it to 105.
Yeah, going up a class is always more fun. I moved from 59 to 66 to 74, so I've jumped.
3 classes.
Yeah. I think I'll stop
Uh,
here because I'm very vain.
Actually, I was thinking of cutting down the weight for 93.
Yeah, right. Like it really depends on like how much body fat are you having and whatever.
I have
You
a
know.
lot of body fat, bro. If you look at me squatting, I have only stomach in front.
That's common. You are 105, of course.
But actually, it helps your squat when you have a big stomach. Now, I
Right?
give like 100% for squats, but not for deadlifts.
Yeah, it's in the way.
Yeah, it's very difficult to
I
deadlift.
we always make fun of QQ, the guy you competed against.
Yeah,
And then we were saying that no fair, you just go down and bounce it up because of the belly, right? But he compensates it back on deadlift. He says it's hard to reach down. At 105 it's hard.
yeah, it's deadlift. I don't. It's very difficult for deadlifting with your stomach in between. Even sumo is difficult. I don't. I prefer conventional. So,
Just
what's your
excuses,
point?
man.
Uh, I don't have good hip mobility actually to widen my stance for sumo deadlifts.
You don't do sumo, right?
I tried sumo for 1 year. I had a back injury. So to take the load off, I did sumo deadlift because it's very comfortable for me.
Yeah.
No
Yes.
convention, only sumo.
It's comfortable for the lower back.
Yeah, very comfortable,
Also,
bro.
Matt, I have one more question.
What's up?
Vedant Hasna Matam. So Matt, what do you think about OHP having no carryover to your bench press? Is that true or
It really depends. It really depends. I mean, you have to look at your strengths and weaknesses of the bench, right?
yeah?
And your bench essentially requires your whole body, right? Lower body is leg drive, and then you need your pecs, your upper back, your delts, your bicep, tricep for stability, whatever. Um, I would say definitely stronger is always better. having whatever stronger body parts is better. But programming wise, unless I spot that the client if I spot that the athlete has a shoulder weakness, in terms of the sticking point and failing bench because they're unable to follow through because of their shoulder, and if I determine that, then yes, it would have carryover. But for like generally, if let's say people don't have problems and all of that, I would still include overhead presses, but not barbell. I would prefer to
Dumbbell presses.
yeah
Okay.
because you have more shoulder freedom, and work on your stability and so but that's kind of like the general approach for it. Only if there's weakness, then I'll place more emphasis on it. But it will be included. Shoulder work will be included, but not heavily prioritized.
Okay. Also, what cues will you give us, give to us for improving our bench press arch and improving our leg drive during a bench press?
First of all, I would say that the bench press arc, the bending of the upper back, is really highly dependent on the shoulders depression, retraction and depression. So if you have a good retraction and depression, right, there will naturally be a upper back arc. So a lot of the times it's not about, of course, mobility plays a part, right? But a lot of times for people, it's not about mobility. It's more of learning how to retract and depress their shoulders and keep it retracted and depressed throughout the movement. Because it's very common to press and then you over press, right? And then your shoulder comes off the bench. Or then that increases the range of motion. You cannot load your lats as efficient as your first rep, for example. So that is kind of like for the bench arc. And if let's say you have that nailed down, then of course upper back mobility work. But personally, I don't really work on my upper back mobility work because I don't really have to, because I think my bench arc is like pretty okay. But for leg drive wise, okay, how do you guys leg drive? Only on the ascent or both?
It depends. For me, it's like when I take the bar out of the rack, I start the leg drive from there itself. I push my legs because it's very easy to set up from that position.
Yeah. So I if I'm not wrong, quite a number of people have asked me about when to apply leg drive, and I would say when you unrack the bar and when you take a big breath, right? So unrack the bar, take a big breath, and then that is where you activate your leg drive. And of course, you don't have to press it. Yeah, and then there are people that say that you can put 70% of the pressure when you're going down and then 100% when you're coming up. But that is kind of not what I believe. I
Depends
believe,
upon the athlete also.
yeah, of course. Yeah. But personally, ideally, I would say that you have to have your leg drive 100% on the descent and ascent, because bench is very highly dependent on stability, right? The more stable you are, the more in control of the bar you are, the better transfer of force. So in that sense, keeping it stable using leg drive to take some load off your lats, because you're loading the lats on the way down, right? Will aid in the transference of force during the ascent of the lift. But yeah, I think that is for leg drive. For you guys, do you all push your legs forwards or into the ground?
Forward.
I push
Mostly.
forward.
I try
I
to
push
push
forward.
like I think of the leg drive as a knee extension.
Yeah. So correct. Yeah. So that's something that I also like to enforce, and personally I think that it worked very well for me. is that don't press your legs down because your butt will come up, right? It's more
Yeah.
like pushing it,
Yeah.
forwards. Yeah. So I think that's a couple of things that I would say about the bench up and leg drive, but yeah, it's still very personalized. I know people who have big bench that just detest leg drive. They just don't use leg, not detest, but like they don't use leg drive, which
They
is very
don't like.
crazy to me. You know, but yeah, it really highly depends. But
Can
of
I
course,
Mark,
add on to something?
people to do that.
yes.
Actually, I had to make a point about leg drive. So can I mention it?
Of course, of course.
Yeah. So there's a friend of mine who lives in UK. Her name is Isha Mani. So shout out to her. So she gave me a cue for the leg drive. She told me that when you unrack the bar, after that when you set your hips down, just touch your glutes to the bench and don't rest your hip structure onto the bench. So those are two different things. So when you rest your entire hip structure on the bench, the leg drive from your quads, it just goes off in my experience. And when you just touch your glutes lightly on the bench, the leg drive is still intact and you can still push through your quads. That's what I
Yep.
have experienced, and when I tried it with my clients as well, it has worked good.
I see. Yeah, and of course, you don't want to rest your entire hip on the bench. You just want to make it
Yeah,
legal, right? Which is just the glutes on the
yeah,
bench. Because, yeah, the bench up is also at risk if you just collapse your entire hips on the bench.
yeah.
I
And
do that. Yeah.
one more thing people do that in terms of leg drive is that they, in order to get a bigger arch, they try to get their feet very back in terms of their, their thoracic structure and their hips as well. So
Yeah.
their knees are very down when it comes to, compared to the hips. And in my experience, when I push them a little forward, I can still feel my quads a little more, and I can better push backwards with my thoracic spine and maintain a bigger arch. That's what I have experienced so far.
Yeah. I've seen lifters like they force their leg all the way back, like as far as they can, uh, as close
Yeah,
as to the head as possible, and it looks so uncomfortable. Like personally, I don't like to do that. I like to find a sweet spot where I can apply as much pressure as I can because it's so uncomfortable. My bench arc is uncomfortable enough itself.
Yeah.
and maybe that's why they
That's fine.
experience the lower back pain they do in the bench
Yeah.
press.
Yeah, yeah. A common misconception, right, is you just want to arc the entire back, but you want to arc the upper back, not the lower back. Because if you arc the lower back, the muscles shorten, right? There's a very high chance of it cramping. Yeah, so that's kind of something that people don't understand why they just say like, oh, I don't know why my lower back cramps. Well, because you are shortening your entire lower back and squeezing it as high as you can. That's why.
Focus more on your thoracic spine.
Correct. Yeah.
And Matt,
Yeah,
I had
and
this question for you. Like, what style grip do you use for benching?
Damn. Okay, the two grips, right? Is the American grip or the Japanese grip, right?
Yeah. Bulldog grip.
Um, I I use like a hybrid of it.
Okay.
So the Japanese grip is very,
Yeah.
it's
internally
crazy,
rotated.
right?
I was sitting over here, and you have to grab like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tend to use the Japanese grip, and after that, I have stopped using wrist straps.
and and then on the other hand, the American grip is very straight. I use a hybrid, and I would recommend a hybrid. Unless you find one or the other really works for you. Because I mean, if let's say it's a max grip, right? Yeah, it's better to do that. Unless like I have this at the Asian Champs, I have this athlete. He does close grip bench, like shoulder width close grip, which I still admire him to this day for, right? Then yes, that using the American grip helps a lot because it's more natural.
Actually, bulldog grip has helped me a lot because with my elbow pain and all. Because when I used to take the normal grip, the bar used to do like this always.
Mm,
Create a big momentum and stretch my tennis, tennis
yeah,
elbow,
so
golfer's elbow.
So there's one thing that I always mention to my athletes is make sure, right? Okay, let's say this is the bar. Let's say the bar is here, right?
Yeah.
Wait, let me make it. Okay, let's say the bar is here. Okay, you always want the bar to be directly under the elbow.
Elbow. Yeah.
Yeah, so that it sets your body in a more natural position. Prevent injury and all that. Yeah, and there's better transference of force because it's in the direct line of contact.
Yeah. So,
Yes.
and what's your take on this? What do you say? The bench press style, where to touch on your body.
It really depends on your grip. But if let's say it's the maximum width grip, I would say the at the start of the sternum,
Start of the stone.
like at the nipple level, is where it's good. Because you want to keep your shoulders, depressed also. So, but unless you're doing close grip or maybe then a bit higher. But it really is down to personal preference. But I have found that having the bar start above, like right at the nipple level, the start of the sternum, uh, in that position you can load your lats a lot better.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense. Actually, people don't have the idea of, in India especially, benching with a arch. They just lay on the bench and just try to do it like a bodybuilder style bench. Exactly.
While that has its benefits because you're working on brute strength, right? Uh, sharpening their technique will bring them very far.
But if they can improve just a bit, they can have so much of transference of force through the legs if they have a good leg drive.
Yeah, which is, I mean, maybe it's because common knowledge or whatever you see on YouTube or those people that do bodybuilding, right? Because they want to maximize loading of the muscles and whatever. So you just adopt whatever you see. This is how bench press is supposed to be. Yeah. So
People have a lot of controversy between the arch and the bodybuilding style bench press. People
yeah.
don't like to see the arch in the bench press actually.
Yeah. Well, but it's powerlifting, so whatever.
If the
So
rule
the
says
suicide grip.
yes, you can do it.
Right.
Suicide grip is not allowed in IPF.
No, but people tend to use it in the gym as well, whether they're lifting for powerlifting or not, and which I think is very harmful. Could be
Yeah, that's
when you are
dangerous.
under,
Not allowed
heavy
actually.
weight.
If you have a spotter behind, do whatever you want, bro. Especially I used to do the suicide grip because it was easier on my elbows and stuff.
Mm.
Keeps the bar over here, na, so I used to do like, oh, what's it gonna do? Fall on my
Yeah, right.
chest?
I mean, I believe that there's a time and place for everything. Say, for example, you are just getting off, you're recovering from an injury, and you feel that the suicide grip, is making your elbow more comfortable. Then, of course, because ultimately bench volume is better than no bench volume.
Yeah, true.
So, I believe there's a time and place for everything, but uh, most in most cases we won't apply it.
Suicide grip.
Yeah.
And from this point, I like to talk about frequency, like lifting frequency. So, what's your take on the frequency of the three lifts: bench press, squats, and deadlifts?
Uh, of course, you want your deadlift frequency to not be very high because it's harder to recover from and blah blah blah. And then bench is the lift that you can recover the easiest from. So it's easier. It's you can put more frequency and yeah. So I would say that it really depends. If let's say this athlete tells me that okay, I can train like every single day, like I don't care, right? Um, it depends on their uh level. Say for example, a intermediate lifter, you don't need that much of frequency. Ultimately, you want to recover better. Um, and what is the most efficient? unless like for me, right, I need a lot of bench frequency so that my bench can move. That is kind of like the latest memory I have of it. And yeah, leading up to the Asian champs at Kazakhstan, my bench frequency increased because my shoulder was feeling okay, and I needed to catch up a lot. And yeah, because with my shoulder injury, I didn't bench for a while, and yeah, it was like a desperate attempt to get the numbers up, and it did. But the thing is, let's say you put a beginner intermediate on a high bench frequency, like 4 or 5 times, right? 4 or 5 times is really quite high.
Yeah.
And then you cannot stray away from that. It's kind of like you are setting yourself up for
Failure.
yeah, kinda. So if you put yourself on 4 or 5 times frequency, first is will you be able to sustain? Because injury is a lot higher, the chances of
Also,
whatever. Let's say ideally you're able to sustain. You improve like 10 kilos on your bench. And then suddenly you're like, actually I cannot train 4 or 5 times anymore. Because life gets in the way, right? I only can train like 3 or 4 times. So bench frequency also takes a hit. Oh, I cannot train so long. Right? So if let's say you can train 3 or 4 times, you may not bench every session because, for example, this athlete cannot train I cannot put as much time in the gym per session. So maybe you drop your frequency to 3 times. The volume, the decrease in volume will take a big toll on bench. So you're kind of like giving it back. Yeah. So I'm not a big fan of increasing frequency unless I have to. And it really depends what phase also. Say for example, it's like a strength phase. I don't mind having a 3 times squat frequency because the volume is low, and then but of course not every session is a high RPE, right? You have one session is just like technique practice, for example, which is the RPE is like really low, like 7, a good 7. And yeah, it really depends on the phase. Like it's a hypertrophy phase. Of course, you cannot push three times frequency and all at RP 8-ish 9, unless you're able to recover from it. But I'm saying that the general crowd won't be able to recover from it. Yeah, but it also really highly depends. But yeah, my general take on frequency is that I won't increase frequency unless I have to. Yeah, I would try to solve the issue of progression in other methods until I'm like, you know what, this is not working, let's increase the frequency. So yeah, there's a time and place for everything.
Because I believe that you can't do too much of volume in a single day of bench. It's very difficult to accumulate the volume. So that's why we can give more frequency away, and it's very easy to recover from at the
Bench,
end.
yeah. What's your
And
bench frequency?
it depends upon the stages, bro.
Yeah,
Some
right,
if
right. Yeah,
yeah,
it's not a one size fit all.
it, for me also I uh, train from 4 times a week, 3 times a week, sometimes two times a week. Depends upon the stress level I'm having.
Mm.
Like
but Aniket, you can tell him right now, like what you're going to follow from the next week, the program that I made for you.
it's mostly three times, na Vedant?
Wait, let me just check with it. Huh?
Yeah. You're my coach and you don't know what, bro. What
Bro, I
people will
have
think
to,
about you.
bro, I have to handle multiple athletes, so I can't remember details about
I'm
everyone. Just give me
I
1 minute,
I am
okay?
the I am the special one, bro.
Star.
हिसाब
Not
बराबर
star.
रखते हो ना?
I'm the special kid with disabilities.
Just a minute. So you're benching one, two, just 2 times in the week, and the third day is an
Accessory.
accessory day. So I counted his frequency down to 2.5. So one is primary day, second is secondary day, and on
And
the
it's
third day we are getting a closed variation with dumbbells.
incline bench press, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, if let's say it's a weakness of muscular, if let's say it's a muscular weakness, right? I'll try to solve it with accessory work,
Yeah.
not using the barbell because there's less stress and whatever, and then you can activate like certain muscles better, and intended for the exercise. But yeah, generally frequency is not like the first thing I'll go to.
Because in Aniket's case, he had some a shoulder issue in the past as well. So I have kept his
Not past, in
frequency a
the
little low.
recent history.
Yeah,
In the
recent.
recent history.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
I
you
mean,
want to like be very wary about it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then variation also helps.
so
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that's why we are
As
like building a hypertrophy phase right now. Build everything up.
yeah.
So Matt, I had one question about deadlifts, especially. How do you pull the slag out of the bar?
Personally, I okay. In my view, a good deadlift has push and pull, right?
Yeah.
Your okay. Let's say it's a sumo deadlift, for example. Your a good push from your feet, and a good
Yeah.
pull from your upper back.
Yeah.
So, uh, I how I would teach people to pull the slack is as you get into position for your setup, you tension those 2 points more and more and more and more. But of course, if let's say 100%, okay, let's say 100% is your maximal force output, right? Of course, you won't want to go past like 50%. If not, the bar will fly up if it's light, right? And you want to practice pulling the slack. So yeah, it really depends on the weight also, because if let's say it's a sub-maximal or near maximal weight, a top single, you want to pull the slack as hard as you can, because you know that shit won't fly up no matter what before you get into
Yeah.
position. So yeah, that's kind of like the theory of it.
So what's your cues for it?
Uh I don't really have like cues for it. I let my athletes develop them themselves, develop the cues themselves. But yeah, generally it's just feet and upper back.
Okay. We can
What
upper
are
back.
some that you use?
For me personally, my cue is like just pull your lats tight, like this. There's a hole in between here. There's a triangle. I just trying to shorten the range of motion over here. That's it.
Mm-hmm. And that
That
helps
works for me.
pull the slack.
Yeah, because I pull conventional, na, so I build tension from this area.
Mm-hmm.
Like I close the area, close the area, close the area. So actually, my upper back is doing all the work. Upper back, the posterior chain, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
I believe
Pulling the slack.
one of the mistakes that people do in this queue is that they retract their scapula, and which
Yeah,
is not really
Oh
beneficial.
no, definitely don't retract your scapula.
some people do like the bench thing.
Please don't.
Yeah.
You want as short of a range of motion as possible. And besides, if you retract your scapula won't have the strength to hold like 300 kilos off the ground, so it
Oof.
give way in the end. So there's no point.
Actually, it won't stay
Yeah.
there.
It won't.
As you pull the bar, your hands will come like this.
Yeah.
The normal position. It's impossible to pull your scapula back while deadlifting.
And you're increasing the range of motion for what?
Yeah, and it's in between your body. The what do you say? Center of gravity comes in between your body. It's like the slant thing
Yeah,
going.
yeah. So, yeah. So actually, yeah, something that I make sure that people do is protract their shoulders. So yeah,
Protract.
yeah. So make sure that it's their arms are lengthened, not the other way around.
Okay, okay. So outside, like this.
Yes. Yeah. But of course, you don't want a super round upper back. A bit is fine.
So what do I do is I just uh, use my lats to engage this. That's it.
Mm,
Use, use my what do you say? While pulling the slack out of the bar, I think of my lats as like the slack puller.
yeah,
That's what
yeah.
I call it.
For conventional, it's a lot more applicable.
Yeah,
Yeah. Like the Russell or his deadlift, right? He does that also.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Have you seen?
Rasadori.
Yeah, yeah. Aniket, go ahead.
No, no, go ahead.
Yeah. So as I was saying, do you know Ricky Cho is?
Yes, I do.
And have you seen his technique?
Mm-hmm.
I think watching his technique was very beneficial for me when I implemented it in my, in my technique as well. Because the way he sets up for this
Yeah.
deadlift, I
He
think it
pulls
taught
the
me
slack
to
like
be,
crazy,
yeah,
dude.
yeah. It taught me to be little patient of the floor, because in the beginning I used to rush, off the floor, and
Yeah.
that resulted in improper position of the floor, and that's why I couldn't lock out.
Mm,
Because in the beginning, when your starting position is disrupted, you can't lock out your deadlift. It's not just a
yeah.
glute weakness, it's your technique as well.
Correct. Yeah. I personally, in my personal experience, if let's say I pull the slack very well and I tension properly at the very beginning, yeah. So pulling the slack as hard as I can. My legs are solid, pushing, before the bar pops up. Right.
Yeah.
The bottom part will feel like nothing. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's more for sumo, because conventional is just like it's heavy all the way.
No, no, actually, it's very easy off the floor. As you come past the knees, it's very hard. I don't know why. I can pull easily anything off my knees.
Hmm.
It's very easy. Yes. It's very easy. But
Yeah.
off the knees is very difficult. I don't know why. Because you have a longer range of motion to complete. That's why.
Yeah, maybe it's like positioning and all that also. Or it could just be, the weakness of conventionals.
Or might be I could not be strong enough.
Oh, don't say that.
I believe I can get more stronger with the better coaching, better peaking and stuff.
Yeah, like structured and
Proper structure, like for a long time, if someone knows how I, what do you say, peak, and can predict that over a time of like over a period of time, that could help me a lot.
yeah, yeah. That's true. And okay, not everyone. Truth of the matter is, not everyone can afford a coach, right? Because we do this for a living and all that. But the thing is, for me, I would say that if I want to do something, I will do it all the way, and I want to make my times worth. Um, I was fortunate enough to have my elder brother, coach me throughout my powerlifting career from the very beginning. But I have seen, people who are talented. You know they're talented and they have not reached their potential yet. But it's very unfortunate because they cannot afford to hire someone that can guide them in the proper direction, or just to maximize their potential. Yeah, I mean,
Yes, I've
they're
seen such.
always really.
Yeah, in India, they are everywhere, bro. People don't have proper knowledge of even basic peaking.
Hmm.
This guy,
because
this yeah,
because the entire concept of peaking doesn't exist, because we get the notice of our meets competitions just a week or two before.
What?
Yes, because we talk
Oh,
about this with Bryce Lewis, Matt Cronin, and they were surprised as well.
wow! You guys get notice 1 to 2 weeks,
not for
Yes,
nationals, but
not
for
for
states and
nationals but
district.
states or district meets.
but in order to compete nationals, you need to compete in a local one first, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
local is district, district then states, then we have to go for nationals.
and even
Dang.
for nationals they just keep us in the dark and say that the nationals will be at October or November, just roughly, and nationals
No, no,
happen just
Vedan,
two
let me correct you.
nationals happen 2 weeks after the state meet.
Vedan, let me
Wow.
correct you. Actually, we know the national dates for like 3 months. That's it. We
Mm,
know the exact date when the exact week actually when the
yeah.
competition is happening, but we don't get the schedule for the competition. Like when is the 105 kg
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
competition? So we don't
I
know
feel
the
like
exact date of the.
I feel
Yeah,
like 3 months is okay. Like if you give me 3 months, right, then yeah, it's fine.
but we
But
don't know when the district is happening and when the
On the
states are
states is
happening.
happening.
wow, that's crazy. Yeah, I would never do that because
So maybe that's why the old school time powerlifters who used to compete for equipped as well, and since the raw lifting in India has grown since 2017, I believe they still practice the same type of philosophy of
yeah,
training, like going
yeah,
heavy always, because they're just always getting prepared for the meet, because the meet will be like
you
a
never
surprise,
know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
But if I were put in your position, I would probably take, yeah, I would definitely take your uh district and state. Is it these two? District
Yeah.
meet
Yeah.
and then state meet. Yeah, I would take district meet and state meets very very easily. Like go there and like a top single RP 8 or 9 day, because I mean, if let's say nationals is happening like 2 3 weeks after, or for example, right, then you want to perform on nationals because
Yeah. True.
not your state or district meet, and uh because it's impossible to perform at the highest level, to at in 2 weeks notice also. So yeah.
I did the same thing. Between the peak, I was competing in the competitions.
Yeah, right. Just go there, casual meet, and it's not as competitive also, so you don't need to put up your A game.
It was not competitive. Yeah. Just I did. I squatted around for my district competition around 200 kg.
But
200 kg
serious,
for district
what?
comp. Yeah.
What?
Same thing. Same thing happened over there. I was puking all over the place.
Oh,
So
oh
only
no.
I was cramping for like 1 to 2 hours, and I was so for like 7 days from the
Yeah,
cramps.
dude. You know,
Yeah.
in one of my competitions, at one of the worst cramps I had was at Belarus 2017 Worlds. Um, my calf cramped. Okay, basically I cramped up easy during the entire meet, but my calf was very significant. Like it was the easiest thing to cramp. It was sore for like a good week. Yeah, same as you, a good week. It's very mind blowing.
It's difficult for cramps. My whole forearm was cramped, abs were cramped, and quads were cramped. I was able to sit properly. It's
That's
difficult. So I did 200
crazy.
squat. That's it.
But you squat 200 when you have like 270 in the tank.
I didn't have 270 in the tank, I believe. I was not completely peaked at that time. So I guess 250, 260.
Damn. That's so humbling.
And for, yeah, that's what it is. Because my peak was supposed to be completed in September end week for the
Mm,
nationals. So that was the reference point for peaking.
yeah, yeah. And then you had a meet suddenly. Hello. But you
Yeah.
have no choice,
I'll,
right? You must compete in them, right?
but yeah, we have to compete it. It was my first time actually in this federation for
Yeah.
competing in.
If you don't have to, like, nah, just don't do it.
We have to do it actually. It's
Yeah,
very
but
difficult.
mostly meets in India are preponed, like taken before the date, actual date, not postponed.
Sometimes it is. Yeah.
Wow, but if you have weight cuts to do and all that, it's so difficult. Like your body
Messed
should
up.
be prepped. Like
Exactly.
it's just you are like 2 3 kilos. It depends on your body weight also. 2 3 kilos above max, and then do a water cut. Done. There's no time for you to diet down and
It's
Yeah,
difficult.
and it's also not also advisable, when you are just trying to get stronger. So being in a deficit might not be your best bet. So
Yeah.
you can get away with doing a water cut, but it should be well planned as well, not just like Aniket's, disaster.
Actually,
But
my
at
water
least,
cut was not that bad, but
yeah,
the
but
cramps
at
were very
least he
bad.
takes accountability of what went wrong, and he, accepts what went wrong, and he can improve in the future.
What was your water cut process?
I was asking you the same question, but let's answer this first. So, first week, I started this. Yeah, 1 week prior, I started drinking lots of water, like 7 to 8 liters of water,
Mm-hmm.
and start reducing. What do you say? Gut
Carbs.
mass. Gut
Like
mass.
whole density,
So
high
yeah,
density. I'm sorry.
basically fibers. I don't consume fibers at all.
Hmm.
And before competition at the like basically uh, dinner of the competition day, before the competition day, sorry, I have a whole fatty meal with low carbs and moderate protein,
Mm-hmm.
like easily digestible protein, like some sort of eggs or whey protein. So I have the energy in my system
Yeah.
via fats.
Yeah. Because cup store water, right?
Yeah, and fats is like the density is very small.
Yeah.
You can have this
And
amount of fats and lots of energy.
correct. Yeah. How okay, so throughout the years, right, we kind of have found we tweaked and we refined we call it our water loading protocol, um to we tweaked it and refined it as best as we can. So it's 4 days.
4 days, okay.
So you don't have to prolong your suffering. And there are a lot of people who like it's either they taper water or whatever, but this is kind of like the best that works, that I found, that I've discovered, and over the years tweaked and to my liking. And I've done it for a couple of athletes, and yeah, it works perfect. So 4 days, like what you say, 8 to 10 liters, and then I'll do a sodium loading for the first 2 days.
And then
Mhm.
gradually lose the sodium.
Yeah, because sodium will hold on to the water.
Correct, because you don't want to lose the water that you drink like 3 to 4 days out, because that's not the point, right?
Like, yeah, it might go too early.
Correct. So and then for carbs, it will be like 100% first, and then we cut out to 50%, and then for the third day it's 50%, and the last day is zero, of course. Um, but yeah, generally, and then the sodium I would taper the sodium by the third day, and then the fourth day, which is the last day of water loading, would be as low as possible, below 500 mg. So it's quite hard. Most of the time, people would just, you know what, screw it, I'm not gonna eat, because I would just exceed the sodium levels, right? Like I think 100 gram of chicken breast is like 73 mg of sodium itself already without anything. So it's very depressing. Uh, so um, how I would do it is you want to reduce carbs as much as possible and whatever. So I found almonds, right? Almonds is
Yeah,
high in fat.
yeah.
So
I know
there's
that also.
correct. So there's a lot of calories in almonds. So I would recommend my athletes to snack on almonds for the last day. So if you're feeling hungry, if your mouth is feeling itchy, just snack on almonds. Because how much almonds can you eat? 100 grams of almonds is quite a lot. At most you eat like 200 grams of almonds, which is like negligible. And then with the calories, it's a very very good trade-off. There is not a lot of carbs. In fact, very 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 close to negligible. And then there is also negligible amount of sodium. So uh it's kind of like the perfect food. So uh your gut is empty, right? So you're light, and on top of that, uh you have energy, because the almonds it doesn't consume a lot of space, and then it's very high in calories.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like um the thought process behind it. And yeah, so the end, the food intake also tapers down. And yeah, that's kind of generally how I do my water loading. I think I've done it for like close to 10
How much?
times.
How much did you
Yeah.
cut? What? How much weight did you cut?
It really depends. Some people can cut, through this protocol. Some people can cut like 3+ kilos, like QQ, because he's a bigger guy, right? He can cut like three
Yeah.
plus kilos. For me, average I'll cut 2.3 kilos. Then
Point-
yeah,
Nice.
and then although like body weight is a factor, it's not it's also still very very dependent. So there's one of the athletes, she's a female, so she holds water quite a bit. Her water retention is quite a lot.
Mm-hmm.
She's only 50. Yeah, she competes in the 52 class, and then when she water loads, she loses as much as I do, which is crazy. I would expect a 52 kilo girl to lose maybe about like 1.9, 1.8, right? But she
Max.
loses like 2.3, 2.4, which is just mind blowing to me. So it really depends on individuals. So it needs to be experimented. But if let's say it's the first time, of course, go conservative. If let's say it's expected to be, you're expected to drop 2 kilos, be like 1.7 away. Don't be like 2, because you never know. And then there's also the issue of where like for girls, they're way more sensitive, where they are at their menstrual cycle, because if let's say you make them do a water loading protocol when they are close, when they're feeling when their bloating happens and all that, their water retention happens, it would just be a disaster.
Yeah.
So in that case, then I would taper the water. So it will be a 5-day protocol, and then the last day is just as little as possible, so you get time to flush it out. But that is kind of more like a safety net, because the longer time that you're dehydrated for, the bigger impact on power it takes. So I would try to avoid that at all costs, unless unless I know that, what, this is a very risky period of time of the month, and we have no choice but to do this.
Yeah, so to counter your take on the carb loading or the use of carbs, recently in January I did a meet as well, and I cut 2.5 kgs for that with a water cut, and I try to keep the calories as same as possible that was in the previous week of the peak. So it was around 2400 calories, and on the days I was training, which was on 4 days that I trained, I took my openers 7 days ago. So on the 4 days that I trained, my carbs were 330 grams, carb and protein was 150 grams, and fats were 50 grams. And on the days of the rest, the carbs were low, towards 280 grams, and fats were a little higher. So I believe that in the context of powerlifting and strength sports, I believe carbohydrates are very important for performance standpoint,
Of
and
course, of
that's
course.
yeah. And I don't believe in reducing the amount of carbs in the week leading towards the meet. So I believe, even though I kept my carbs and calories the same, and manipulated my water, tapered it down
So
like 2 days. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
yeah, so okay, the general consensus is that you want to, because carbs is energy, right? Carbs
Yeah.
is sorry, you want to still eat carbs because you want to produce ATP,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Prep cycle, whatever ATP, right? But on the day, so usually, right, coming into the meet like 3-4 days out is either a deload day or something. It's really easy. So yeah, that is why I have them do that. And on top of that, because carbs retain water, and then you're
Yeah,
drinking a lot of water, you don't want the carbs to hold that water, because it's a crazy risk. So that's kind of like why we do it also. And on top of that, we compensate. Okay, so glycogen in the muscle takes 24 hours, right?
yeah,
And the reason, like how we counter it, is by shooting up our blood glucose level during the refeed. So, okay, unless you have diabetic problems, then like it's an issue, but generally it won't be an issue. So something that helps a lot is honey. So that's kind of
I get it.
where your source of power comes from, because honey is pure sugar and it absorbs in your bloodstream, a lot faster than having to digest carbohydrates and then going through that process or whatever. So uh, that is kind of how it's counted, by the blood glucose level shooting up, and using that glucose to produce power instead of relying on the possible glycogen, like what you mentioned, because that will store water, because carbs store water, so we don't want that. Yeah.
Since
So
you mentioned the point of that carbs hold on to water, 2 days out of my meet, my weight was 78.5 kg. It went from 76.5 kg to 78.5 kg, but on the day of meet, I was 70. I weighed in at 73.8 or 73.9.
what?
Yes.
How?
I
Wait,
don't know.
so
It's
what's the
just
difference? 78, 4 plus kilos?
4.5, around 4.5.
At the start of the water loading, what was your body weight?
Yeah, so at the start of my water loading, 6 days I was my body weight was 76.5. I had the data right here in front of me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and 5 days out, the calories were all the same until day one, 1 day out. Okay, so the on 5 days out, let's say on Monday, I consumed 6 liters of water, and on the next 3 days until Thursday, I consumed 12 liters of water. So I did a calculation based on my body weight
Mm-hmm.
and came around with that number. And on the last day, 1 day out, I stopped my diet, or let's say I stopped eating anything 12 to 14 hours before my weigh-ins, and I only consumed 2 liters of water in that day.
So before that, you load up on your carbs like 3 days out?
No, the calories and carbs were same throughout the week.
Except 1 day out.
Yeah, except 1 day out.
I see. Yeah. Then because it has enough, it has a good amount of time to flush out anyway, so yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
guess that is why. But
and
I mean,
16 hours before I stopped consuming water or even or anything, just food sources, I had a very big ass meal, and around that I still weighed around 75 kgs because I was actively
uh,
flushing. I was actively flushing out water. So overnight I was 78.5, and the other Friday evening I was 75 kg.
I see. That's quite
So
interesting. I
yeah,
yeah, I always like to know how people cut weight, especially like in other sports, like like judo and whatever, because for them, right, it's a 24-hour weigh in, so they can like sauna like crazy and all that. But yeah, I mean, I guess at the end of the day, it's really what works for you, because it's tried and tested, and you don't want to. I mean, coming into the meet, familiarity is very important. You
yeah,
don't want to
exactly.
introduce something that is unfamiliar. You don't want to change any variable that may affect your performance at the meet. So yeah, I
Hmm.
guess whatever works. Try and test it.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it works, it
And I
works.
think it's a good data to collect for future events as well.
Yeah. And but yeah, something that I always take note is that if it works for you, doesn't mean it works for everyone.
Yeah.
So I'm always ready to tweak it on the
Mhm.
fly. Yeah, although it's my water loading protocol, our water loading protocol, it's still just a reference.
Yeah.
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 And should be manipulated for athletes according to
Correct.
their
Correct.
differences.
Yeah, it's not set in stone, lah, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I like the way you said the way like the almonds as a snacking food. I had the same idea. I used this peanuts and cashew for
Mhm.
snacking.
Yeah.
For Kazakhstan, I use peanuts and cashew. It was high fat content and exactly no carbs, low carbs,
Mm-hmm.
good amount of protein in peanuts, but it's not of use.
It's keto
Yeah.
fanatics, man.
It's not of use.
Eh, yeah, the amino acid profile is not good, but you can have it.
Yeah, of course, of course. But
And
yeah,
what's your take on? Yeah,
huh?
yeah. Go ahead. No,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead. I wanted to ask you about your post weigh protocol,
Yeah,
Post in.
because I believe recomp is very important as well, because some mistakes that people usually do ends up either happening something what happened to Aniket, or something like happened to
yeah.
me
Yeah.
because I consumed too much sugary foods and ended up having a sugar crash, and I literally slept for half an hour. So that was a
That's
mistake.
actually nice.
I've seen world champions. Okay, maybe not world champions, but like I've seen people that are competing at a very high level, taking their refeed very casually, just like yeah, see, I'll just like eat whatever, doesn't matter, right? Which is very mind blowing to me, because for me, the refeed, right? Every single moment, is very, very, very important. Every second. So once we step off the scale, we will have a bottle of water with us. We start chugging, and then once the forms are signed and everything, we go back. So the first thing that I always have consumed and ask my have my athletes consume is isotonic. So Gatorade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that it's something like Gatorade in the powder form.
Okay.
Mhm.
More potassium, basically.
Yes.
Yeah, potassium is very
Electrolytes.
important.
Yeah. So uh I would have myself and my athletes down that first, and then you continue drinking water, and then honey. Honey is very important because like I said, it absorbs directly in your bloodstream and um those kind of stuff. And then
Do you think, Matt, do you think there is a difference between how your body absorbs fructose and how your body absorbs glucose?
Glucose.
Because isn't honey totally made of fructose, or is it a mixture of both?
I don't think that there is much of a difference, but personally, because maybe it's because I eat quite a few different types of carbs. So after the honey, right, um, I would eat my sodium and carb stuff already. So it's
Mhm.
not very far apart. So I guess like everything complements each other at the end of the day. So I don't think it really matters. Um, and but yeah, so after the honey, right, would be my carbs and sodium, to hold all the water. And then so the first 20 minutes is where you want to bloat as much as
Yeah.
possible. And then after that 20 minutes, you still continue drinking water and all, but the bloat slowly dies down. There you continue consuming your carbs, things that you like to eat, those kind of stuff. The less important ones come in now. The most important ones are, like the ones I mentioned, and then your carbs and sodium also. uh yeah, and then the rest is just by feel. Sometimes I have an athlete that is just he or she no, she doesn't like to uh refeed so heavily. It's just whatever is enough, I'm good. Like I don't want to be so full and bloated. And that is also fine. Ultimately it's you want to be as comfortable as possible during meet day, right? Um and then after that comes yeah, so like you said, cup crash or like whatever, right? Because people don't eat throughout the meet, which is something that I guess needs to always be reminded. Me as an athlete, I also don't eat throughout the meet. Like if let's say nobody reminds me, I will not care because it's very uncomfortable. I don't want to eat anymore. I'm sick of food. But it's very important to eat throughout the meet, to keep your blood glucose levels higher, because ultimately if let's say you don't, you'll feel, I don't know, like you will feel a dip in energy on as it nears to the end of the meet. That's on personal experience. So I always have my athletes buy the essentials, which is the ones I talked about, and then number two is the things that you like to eat. But of course, uh, carbs and sodium, surrounding carbs and sodium lah. So not like nothing proteinish or whatever. Um, and that personally, I love Tim Tams. They are just chocolate wafer biscuits.
Yeah, yeah. We have those Tim
Yeah.
Tams.
So
Wafer biscuits.
yeah. So that is obviously not something you want to eat in the very early stages, because there's, I think, quite a decent amount of fat. But that is something that I would eat throughout the meet. After squat, during bench and deadlift, and then yes, for bench you kind of want to bloat a bit also because you don't need a belt. So just a mini bloat, maybe like 20% as compared to your full on bloat at the very beginning. Just to get more calories down, just to get more food in. and that is where you will eat, the things that you like to eat. Because if you don't like to eat those foods, you generally won't eat it. Obviously, keeping the fat as low as possible. Tim Tams is not the best choice, but it's something I like to eat, so I'll be motivated to eat it. Yeah, so that's kind of like the ideology behind it. And yeah, I guess it's like what makes or breaks a refeed is the very beginning. Yeah, so avoid fat as much as you can. You don't want to slow down digestion. You want to consume your essentials, and yeah, just watch where you watch the bloat. Don't make sure you don't overdo it, but it's still very highly dependent. Maybe etiquette for you, it's because maybe it's because your body rejects food, right? Because it's empty, and then you suddenly just so it rejects the food, or it really is personalized. So maybe you can take maybe a softer approach, to not just like swallow everything, it's just like but yeah, it's still very very personalized. But I would say essentials first, and then the things that you like to eat.
Nice plan. I'll follow this for sure.
And then when
Convinced.
when it's the medal ceremony,
Did
you
you
have a chocolate bar with you, kind of stuff.
Actually, in the medal ceremony also, I was cramping.
Wow.
My obliques was like cramping. I was like, let's do it fast.
Yeah,
I can't
And
stand
even
it
get it
on
here.
over
a
and
deadlift
done
as
with.
well.
Yeah, what Vedant?
And even on a deadlift, you cramped as well, right? Your third attempt.
Yeah, third attempt.
Damn, so wasted.
That was pretty sad to see.
Yeah.
I was
But
pulling it. Suddenly I felt that it was not good. Cramp, cut. Gone
Maybe
down.
if you would have used straps, you might have taken it.
No, cramp. If I feel the cramp, I just throw the barbell away.
could you have
Yeah.
powered through it?
No, I have this issue of cramping my chest
Oh, okay. You don't
while
want it to
deadlifting. I don't know why.
Better.
There's many cramps in my chest.
Yeah.
I guess it's because of the positioning.
Could be. I mean, yeah, it's very 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 dependent. But yeah, I guess like right now, it's very important to answer the question of like, is your body absorbing the food? I've done this many times before the 2017 Worlds, but on 2017 Worlds, I'm not sure if it's because it's nervousness or I don't know what happened. But my body was just unable to absorb the food. Like I just felt bloated, and the bloat didn't die, which is very very weird because the bloat usually dies down for me.
Guys,
And yeah, nothing was being absorbed. I still, and then usually you put food and then you let it settle. You put more food, right? I told my elder brother, I told my coach, I'm like, I cannot. If you give me any more for a puke, So it like it really it's still highly dependent. It could be like, this meat, I don't know, your body's just like, no, I don't want to work with you today, that kind of stuff. So
same thing happened with me. I guess the blood was not dying off and the warm up was coming up, so I was like tensed up more and I puked. That was it, I guess.
yeah
That was the breaking point for me.
yeah but yeah, I guess like you could watch it a bit more, so like maybe don't let the bloat go on for
I had nothing, bro. Just a bottle of Gatorade, you can say, the Kazakhstan local thing. Bottle
damn.
of, yeah. That's it, and some water and rice crackers. That's it.
Wow,
Such
that's
little
so
amount of.
weird because
I
there
don't.
isn't a lot of food to begin with.
Yeah, it's a very small amount for this big guy.
Yeah, for your gut space.
Yeah, this fat ass guy who's trying to water cut. That's why I told Vedant like let's do the weight cut properly and reduce to 93 kgs. From that topic, I have one more topic for you. Like, how can you move a class above? Like, how can you change
Because
classes?
that's my question, bro. Because that's my concern. Just I want to move up a weight class.
How do I move up a weight
Because
class?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I believe I'm too tall for 74 kg category.
Okay. For me, when I move up a weight class, it's almost natural because, okay, let's say when I was moving from 59 to 66, right? I was weighing at about 63 kilos, and then I had to make 59. So making 66, I mean, moving up and then having the freedom to eat whatever I want, uh, to make 66 is very easy for me. Same like when I was moving from 66 to 74. When I was 66, when I was competing at 66, my walking body weight at the end was about 71. No, 70 kilos, 70 kilos, 70 kilos. So 70 kilos, I had to restrict my diet like crazy. For 70 kilos, right? Uh, Maybe for like the last 6 months, I was on like 1.5k calories per day.
1 point.
1,500 calories a day, and that's
1,000.
crazily low.
That's very low, bro.
Yeah.
For 70 kilo guy, that's crazily low. So and yeah, because I was very restricted, right? And then my body weight was still 70 kilos. It was very easy for me to move to 74 because when I ate naturally, 72, 73, 74, right? But I would say if you are moving up a weight class, without that kind of intent, I mean, without that kind of circumstance, so it's not like naturally, it's like I want to move up a weight class, right? Of course, it's very, very, very important to, okay, so of course, weight gain is calories in versus calories out. So you want to eat more than, you burn, right? And then, secondly, is be on a hypertrophy phase because that's where, most muscle growth happens. And then, uh, and don't rush it because if you're gonna go up a weight class, you don't want to put on too much fat, and it takes a while naturally to build like 5 kilos of muscle, for example. Of course it depends on how big you are lah. Your body weight itself, but yeah, generally you shouldn't rush it because if you rush it, you just put on a lot of fat. And yeah, just be patient with it. And yeah, I don't think that there's a rush to get to, for example, if you're moving from 93 to 105, right? If let's say your body weight is 96 now, I don't think that there's a rush to get to 105 as fast as possible. You get what I mean? Because if you rush,
Actually, it was very easy for me to gain 93. Actually, it's the same story as you. I was competing. My first competition was at 93, and I weighed in at 87 kgs. So I was
Damn.
like, I can. Well, this was my first competition, so I was like, I can get to 93 and be more stronger, gain more muscle. So I get up to 93, but now I was not able to make weight at 93.
Oh
Then I
shit.
jumped class. Yeah, my weight was 93, exact 93, 90 kg. So then what happened? I was like, next competition I'll play 105 because it's very easy. Then I gained my weight to 96 kg and it's very easy. Then again, same thing happened. I have to complete the class, so I gained 105 kg. Now it's difficult to maintain the class at 105 kg.
Yeah, but yeah, I guess generally, moving up a weight class, ultimately you want to build muscle. You want it to be muscle mass. So in order to build muscle, make sure you recover as well as you can. You get as much rest as you can, and of course, hit your protein. That is very, very important. Yeah, because ultimately that's the hallmark of recovery, and yeah, it's just maximizing recovery as much as you can. Yeah, I guess apart from that, yeah, I think
That's it.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a complete topic. Actually, bro, it's very difficult. Like to cut weight, it's better to move a class up.
It really depends. Like if let's say you're carrying body fat and everything, make the effort
Cut
to
the body weight.
correct
Yeah.
because ultimately it's muscle moving the weight, right? It's muscle moves weight, so you want to be
And
as efficient as you can.
fat moves squats.
Fat provides the spring.
Yeah.
Actually, Ray
Better
Williams is
leverages.
also the Yeah, Ray Williams can squat 1,000 pounds. Why can us?
Because he has a bigger gut than you.
I will try
He,
to make a bigger gut.
no, 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 not healthy in the long run, bro.
Who
Not on
cares,
his
bro?
watch. He doesn't
If
approve.
you can if you can squat 1,000 pounds, who cares, bro?
Yeah, right.
But yeah, if you can squat 1,000 pounds like Ray Williams, I'm going that way, bro. How much does Ray Williams weighs?
I believe
Around like
170
About 170,
170.
180 kilos
Uh,
normally.
normally, because
normally.
last weight cut was a disaster. I believe
Yeah,
not a
yeah,
weight cut, not a weight cut, but I think he dropped weight because he was sick or something.
I'm not sure about that, but yeah, usually
But
the 120 plus, the 100, the super heavyweights, they're about 180 something. I'm
Yes.
not sure about Kelly Brenton. But I get like Jezza, I guess they're all about like 1.7 ish,
Some
one.
issue happened with Kelly Branton, right?
I have no idea. I'm not very catched
He's
up with
from
them.
he's from Canada. He's from Canada. Am I right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I think some issue happened with regarding drug use or something.
oh,
Oh damn!
Yeah, I'm not sure. Don't quote me on this, but I believe it's something related to that.
Wow, that
So there,
sucks.
there were
Hope your supplements get
some
fixed.
there were some jokes regarding like that there's some protein cookies from Canada that are very famous, like Mama protein cookie or something, and people were making memes like these protein cookies now contains PEDs and all. Yeah, so that was pretty funny.
PEDs, bro. It's a long topic. PEDs. Do you have any information about PEDs?
Myself?
Yeah.
No, not really. Yeah, in that direction, and yeah, because I mean, I don't know. It's like IPF for life, I don't know. It's just
And what
not
do you think about creatine?
creatine.
Creatine.
uh, I think creatine.
The best supplement, bro.
Yeah,
In the
right.
PED only. Yeah.
Um, creatine works. Creatine works for me. Creatine, I see a big difference. I know of people who are creatine intolerant, if that is even a thing. Like they
It's actually
just
protein. People
yeah,
get
yeah.
irritated because of creatine.
And then yeah, so creatine, the side effects for them is like they have to go to the toilet like a lot of times a day, and like ugh. So just forget it. But yeah, creatine, I would generally recommend it for most of my athletes, and because you don't get enough creatine from food.
Food.
Yeah, so that is a very very good supplement, and it's a very useful one also. For yeah, I usually recommend it to all my athletes, and I see a big difference. But I don't know if it's placebo, but I see a big difference.
Actually, in the research, it's not placebo actually,
Of course, of course, of course.
because you're consuming more water and the water absorption in the intramuscular level is very high, and you can create more ATP out of it. It
Yeah.
carries one phosphate atom, so it's very easy if
So
you can
yeah,
digest creatine.
I guess it's just setting yourself up, setting your body up, to produce to generate force as much as possible. You don't want to compromise on anything. For example, if let's say your body lacks a certain mineral or whatever, and then it cannot perform to its very best. I guess that's to me that's a big waste. So yeah, you don't want that to happen at any cost. So creatine.
Creatine. Best supplement. Actually, that was my first supplement ever. Creatine. Before
Nice.
protein also.
Not even protein.
Not even protein. Creatine was my first supplement. I have this memory, like me and my trainer, like he got me the creatine box. I was like, take it secretly, don't tell anyone. I'm like, why?
How shady
That
is that?
I have no idea, bro. But it worked. The creatine works actually.
Yeah, yeah.
It had like humongous, like I gained like 10 kgs. I don't know what was it, water or muscle within a
Damn.
year.
10 kilos? Obviously, it cannot be. I guess, of course, it's a mixture of both, right? But like,
Water, fat, and muscle I produced.
You had to add the fat in.
Fat is normal, bro. I eat a lot. I'm always hungry. Look at this.
Damn. You
I
have
have
it
this handy.
right
If I get
there.
hungry, I get hungry. I just have it.
Aniket, I hope you're taking into account the amount of calories you're consuming, right?
Yeah, yeah. From Monday, obviously.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
today is not counted, man. It's just from Monday.
Just for,
So,
it's just Sunday,
starting.
bro. This it's just Sunday, bro. Like, let my body take some rest.
No, it's rest mentally.
Yeah, mental rest. Yeah, you need that
And
nowadays.
there's something with, dieting also and nutrition. It's very mental. You you have refeed days, those kind of stuff. I personally I would say it's very, very, very mental. Like it's to motivate people to continue
Yeah,
restricting yourself, not
Yeah.
giving into the chocolate bar staring at you, that kind of stuff. Yeah. So yeah, I guess dieting is very mental.
let's see how
I
this
believe
diet goes.
I believe someone like Aniket is very adamant when it comes to having changes in their daily routine or diet as well. So it was pretty difficult for me to convince him to know, bro, this is the amount of calories you have to consume. If you haven't tried it at least once, how would you just know that it's, fatiguing or not?
Yeah, that's true.
I before this lockdown phase, COVID thing happened. I was around 96 kgs. I dropped from 107 to 90 kgs.
Wow.
Yeah, within
Dang.
a period of was three. I would say 3 months. 3 months
Did,
after
did your
Kazakhstan. Yeah.
strength take a hit?
I was in hypertrophy phase basically. I in generally off season I am on hypertrophy phase, so
Mhm.
I don't see a difference. My deadlift went up. Bench was hit a bit. I had a stress over there and squat a bit. That's it. But it
Mhm.
was gaining back up fastly.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Yeah, generally bench take the biggest hit with any weight cut. So
Actually, yeah. You feel
I
the
believe
body mass going away. Like, where's the bench going? I can't bench 140 anymore.
you unrack, it's like, oh, why is it so heavy?
It's not about unracking. When the weight comes up and you feel what the fuck, it's very heavy. How can you press it up? That's the point where it's difficult for me. Unracking, it's unracked. Now what to do, bro? How to get it down?
Really? When
Yeah,
Oh, no. It's before you start the lift when the bar is on your hands. It's like, oh, like
yeah.
for me, hate it.
My is when I press the bar up, then I feel I messed something up right now.
Where did it all go?
Yeah, it's all, bro, all going in from the fats. I guess fats the source of energy now. Let's do keto.
Oh god.
The stigma in
so.
India, like fitness industry, like you should do keto for powerlifting.
No, man, big no.
That's a big no, bro.
It depends on the goal.
But for powerlifting, you can't achieve ketosis properly. What do you think? For powerlifting, you need some sort of carbs.
Okay. Personally, I won't recommend it. Like, okay, it really depends on the goal. Like, for example, if let's say the goal is weight loss, right? Keto or not keto, calories in versus calories out. If you
Yeah,
burn more than you consume, then you
consume.
lose weight. Like it doesn't matter on what kind of like weird diet are you on. I'm not saying that keto is weird, but I'm saying there are a lot of weird diets out there.
It's weird,
Uh,
bro. It's actually weird. It's of no use. How can you eat lots of fats and like how can you sustain that for a long period of time?
yeah. It's like cutting out 1/3 of something that's very, very natural in all of diets. So it's kind of like restrictive. But I guess unless you like KFC every single day.
But KFC also have some carbs.
And
Correct.
people who experience weight loss or rapid weight loss, I'd say they think that keto is magic, but they don't believe behind the concept that in essence it's just the calories that have been decreased throughout.
No,
Not the
okay,
calories also, the carbohydrates also.
correct. If let's
Carbohydrate
say
basically means carbs holding water, basically.
yeah,
Yeah, but that will make them fatigued, decreasing the carbohydrates.
yeah. So usually when people start keto, right, they drain because the carbs are all used up, right? So there's no carbs to hold the water anymore. So a lot of the initial phase is just water weight. So it's not really what the main goal of weight loss is, which is fat. So
Actually, we can apply this to water cut only for some days, two to 1 days.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Actually, as far I think, we do keto for weight cut. As you said, we eat almonds and stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of like just to replace the calorie, but your body cannot go into ketosis in that period of time and
Yeah.
whatever. So
Ketosis is big no. You can't achieve ketosis in 1 day, I believe.
yeah. Which is it's quite funny to me whenever I hear people say that, oh, I'm gonna go on this diet. But bro, you are using keto as an excuse, but you're eating the same amount of calories. So what is the point of going on keto?
Losing
Or,
water
or
weight. That's it.
whatever diet. Oh, I'm gonna go on a freaking no meat diet or whatever. I don't know. What do people do? Yeah.
Vegan diet, but there's some merits to vegan diet. People don't like animal cruelty and stuff.
Mhm.
That's why
Oh
vegan. Not me. I'm a vegetarian.
no, man! I
Mostly.
love plants. That's why I don't eat them.
I care for the oxygen in the world.
Let my poetry have the plants rather than me having the plants. Right, Vedant?
Yeah, whatever rocks your boat, bro.
Bro. Good
Yeah, so
podcast,
Matthew,
man.
apart from powerlifting, what all things are you into?
Wow, I really don't have many interests. Okay. One
Gaming.
is sorry, no, I killed that long ago. I suck at it now. Uh but yeah, I guess one of it that I really want to get good at is making videos. So if let's say you search Coach by Marc on YouTube, right? We actually have a YouTube channel. So and then from there I create like videos. And I love it when it's competition season because I get to make videos of things that I love, which is powerlifting.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess that's something that I want to get good at outside of powerlifting. Like competition highlights, that kind of stuff, of my athletes, like at the competition in Kazakhstan, or in the 2018 Mongolia Asian Champs at Mongolia, that kind of stuff. So yeah, I guess that's kind of like my interest outside of powerlifting. But other than that, I don't really have an interest outside of powerlifting because I don't know, like my whole teenage life is just surrounding the sport.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's great. So I into like anime and stuff.
Me?
Yeah.
Not really.
Okay. Because these two guys are into anime and stuff. Neither am I, but they
Dragon
just
Ball is not considered as anime. It's
it's
considered as
like
cartoon only.
manga,
No, it's considered as cartoon actually.
Really?
like you.
Yeah. Dragon Ball.
The only anime I watch is Naruto. Other than that, I don't watch anime.
Naruto, I just started. I'm on like fifth.
Good stuff, man. Good
Naruto's
stuff.
Naruto's good. It's motivating sometimes, but it's scary also.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. But other than that, nah, I don't.
Are you going to become a Hokage one day?
Please don't.
I don't. Yeah. I like Dragon Ball Z better because it's fun, bro. Goku
I, I've,
transforms.
I've never explored in that area.
Dragon Ball. So, Mark, I guess this is a good point for ending our podcast. What do you say?
Yeah, yeah. How
Thank
long
you,
how long
Mark,
have
for
you run for?
the podcast has been recording like 2 hours, 30 minutes.
Damn, that's long.
Uh, so, thank you guys for watching till this point.
And hearing
Stay
as well.
strong. Yeah, and hearing us also. Thank you, Mark, for being on the podcast. Stay strong, SADA STRONG RAHO. Peace out.
Yeah, man.